When you have people on your team who are client facing, it is incredibly important that they are good at it. If they're going to be engaging and dealing and serving customers, that needs to be one of their core competencies. I know this because I have people on my team who engage directly with clients, and I need to be confident that when I put them out there and they're going to be engaging with clients, they're going to deliver. And I know you feel that way too. Today, I'm going to give you 5 behavioral interview questions that are going to help you assess somebody's ability to successfully deal with customers. Let's do it. I'm going to start by saying I am pumped. I am pumped to share these 5 questions with you because they are great. The questions I'm going to give you today are going to help you identify people's strengths and weaknesses when it comes to dealing with clients, conflict resolution, going above and beyond, complexity. All 5 of these questions are different, and they all get to the core of different competencies that make someone really good at customer service. My name is Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 11 years experience in hiring and recruiting, and today I'm going to use it to help you hire better customer-facing employees. If you are new to the channel, take 3 seconds and go subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you never miss one of my videos that come out. And if you're not new, welcome back. All right, so I'm gonna jump into it and go to the first one because this one is an excellent one to get started on. Describe a time when it was especially important to make a good impression on a client. How did you go about achieving this? This is a great question, right? What do you learn from this as someone who's interviewing? Well, you learn about their decision making. How do they determine it was a really important situation, right? How did they identify that, this is a situation in which I need to bring my A game, right? And then on the back end of it, you get how did they go about delivering it? So important, right? Because you're gonna get to see their thought process, what they consider above and beyond, what lengths they will go to make sure they're delivering it. It's a great overall question. By asking this question, you will get a ton of just kind of baseline information on how they view customer service. Let's go to the next one. Give me an example of a time where you did not meet a customer's expectation. What happened and how did you go about rectifying the situation? So this is an awesome question too, right? The reality is you are going to have times where you try your best and you fall short. Okay, great. How do you react? How do you deal with them? What do you do to save the client? Those things are so key. And as a hiring manager, you should want to know that, right? First, I think it's important that they have the humility to share a time where they fell short, because the reality is we all do. Nobody hits 100% of the time, right? So when they fell short, how did they respond? What did they do? How did they go above and beyond? Were they able to win the client? And were they able to tell this story in a way that's believable, authentic, and gives you confidence? And that's what you're trying to get at here. The next question is, tell me about a time that a customer was pleased with your service. What I like about this question is it's simple, right? In some of the other questions, you're leading them. Give me the outcome. What happened? Show me this. This one, it's very basic. So it's incumbent upon them to not only give you the story, talk about their strategy, but give you the outcome. And I really like that. I think having them, have kind of the creative license, if you will, to take that question and go with it however they deem appropriate, is good. It gives you the idea to see, how do they handle this type of things? How do they handle the question? What are their thought process? I just think it's a valuable question. And I think the way they handle answering it, you'll gain a lot from that. The next question is, describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult client. What was the situation and how did you go about handling it? Another great question. You're gonna have difficult client. I'd say 20%, right, of your clients pose some extra level of difficulty compared with the rest of the 80%. So it's something they'll encounter frequently. And how do they handle it? How do they act? Do they go, I'm tired of this, there's a bad client, and do they kind of move on with their day? Or do they try to find out what the solution is, right? What about them is difficult? What can I do to offset that difficulty? And how can I go above and beyond to perhaps win them and turn them from a difficult client to perhaps a brand advocate? And I think that's a really important question. It's the answers you will get here will show you how they handle adversity and what they do to go above and beyond, and just how they view client interaction and what their role is. So again, another great question. I would absolutely ask this one. The last question here I love because it's about complexity. The other questions are a lot about customer service, but this one talks a little bit about balance, complexity, and dealing with a difficult situation. So the question is, when you're working with a large number of customers, it's tricky to deliver excellent service to them all. how do you go about prioritizing your customers' needs? Again, great question, right? Because it acknowledges that it's difficult, but it says, you know, you talk in this question about giving excellent service. So it sets the table that you, as a hiring manager, still believe when the going gets tough, excellence is the bar. You still expect them to deliver excellent service, okay? But you do acknowledge that it can be difficult, and then you're asking, how do you do it? How do you still maintain that level of excellence that we consider to be appropriate? And how do you multitask? How do you prioritize? It gives you a real glimpse into their decision-making process. And the answers will be really neat because you'll learn about some of the different complexities they've had to deal with, in previous roles. Another thing is some people may not have an answer here. They go, my role was really straightforward and I didn't really have any complexity. But then you'll have other people and they'll give you a glimpse into some of the past roles and how, there was tight timelines and competing deadlines. And I think that's really valuable. Knowing that person has that, knowing that person has succeeded in those roles where there's a sort of an extra level of difficulty, I find that to be pretty valuable. And so I think it's an awesome question. So there you go. There's our 5 questions. I would ask all 5. If this is a customer-facing role and it is an important part of what success looks like when someone sits in the seat, you can't risk that. It's all important. And these are great questions to kind of dig deep and find out what it is they do well, what it is where maybe they don't do as well, and find out their commitment and thought process when it comes to customer service. So I hope those helped. Again, if you haven't yet already, please subscribe and like. That motivates me to create more of these videos. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks for taking the time to sit with me today. Have a great rest of the day and happy hiring.